Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. And in today's video, we'll be talking about the horoscope for the month of April 2023. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. So up on the screen here is a depiction of the different transits that are going to take place during this month of April. And this is a huge month as we are going to have a solar eclipse along with Jupiter finally making its way into the sign of Aries. We have a lot of activity mainly happening within the sign of Aries. So especially for those of you who have a cardinal sign or one of the Kendra signs, or if you have a fire sign, then this is going to be a major month for you. So starting off here, we have a full moon in the Hasta Nakshatra. So this is definitely a time of letting go. The full moon we know is all about bringing things to a place of completion. And Hasta, especially as it is signified by a hand or a fist, is about grasping onto things. So this full moon is all about letting go of those tight attachments that you have that are no longer serving you. The sign of Virgo, as we know, is ruled by Mercury. So there's a lot of analysis, a lot of intellectual powers that are within this sign of Virgo. So this especially is about letting go of anything that you are worrying about, that you are trying to predict that might happen, really getting out of that space of anxiety and overanalyzing, letting go of all of those worries and concerns that no longer serve you. Following this, Venus will enter into its own sign of Taurus on the same day here on the 6th of April. So Venus feels very comfortable in the sign of Taurus. However, when Venus comes into Taurus, it will be hemmed by the Sun and Mars. So this is a bit of a difficult position for Venus to be, as the Sun is definitely an enemy of Venus and Mars is a malefic. So it is in a position where it is being hemmed or restricted by two malefics. So this is a little bit of a difficult period for relationships. You want to be very careful about how you are approaching relationships, not allowing anger or ego to get into the way of your connections. It's very important at this time. This can definitely be a time where you feel like you are stuck in a situation that you can't resolve. As this continues, though, this gets better. Venus being here in its own sign of Taurus, once again, is an excellent position. So as Venus comes out of this hemming by the Sun and Mars, this is definitely going to make relationships very peaceful, very well grounded. You can have a great deal of conversation and communication to work out any sort of conflicts. This is also an excellent time for family, as the sign of Taurus is connected to our early childhood and our sense of family and community. For some of you, Venus can also help you in the area of wealth and business, as Taurus is a very entrepreneurial sign. And Venus, of course, is all about the luxuries of life. So this is an excellent placement. Once again, Venus feels very much at home here in Taurus, so giving you a great sense of comfort and happiness. Following this, on the 14th, the Sun will enter into the sign of Aries. So Sun feels exalted in Aries, especially within the first asterism of Ashwini. So right away, coming into this energy of Sun and Aries, there is a lot of strong energies coming in. This can definitely be a time of feeling a boost in your energy levels for some of you, and really getting a feeling of confidence, of charisma, of really feeling that you are in control of things and moving forward, having that forward momentum. Following this, on the 20th, we will have a solar eclipse. And of course, the solar eclipse is a very inauspicious time, as an eclipse is always where we have a shadow body that is covering up one of our luminaries. So the darkness is blocking out the sun during the eclipse. And in this case, this will be Rahu, which is covering up the sun. So this is definitely a time to not act hastily coming into this solar eclipse. This especially being in the nakshatra of Ashwini, you want to be very careful of any sort of ego issues or any sort of impulsiveness. Ashwini is all about speed. So you want to make sure that you are thinking through all of your decisions during this eclipse. Following this, on the 21st, we will have Mercury entering into the sign of Aries retrograde. So this will actually station in the nakshatra of Bharani. So as Mercury comes retrograde here, this is always, of course, a time of review, of going over everything, making sure that you're not missing out on any of the details. But as Mercury is here in Aries, this is creating a bit of a conflict here, as Mars is not happy with Mercury, and Mercury has come into the house of Mars. So this is definitely a time to not be impulsive about your decision making. There's all of this passion and intensity that is here in Aries, where you can make quick decisions and jump ahead without thinking it through. And Bharani, where this retrograde will take place, of course, is known as the star of restraint. So there is a need for self-restraint coming into this Mercury retrograde. Once again, not making hasty decisions, but finding a sense of patience and discipline is very important. Later on the 21st, we will finally see Jupiter entering into the sign of Aries. So we've been waiting for this transit for some time now. And Jupiter, of course, is friends with Mars. So this is a very positive transit as Jupiter comes into Aries. But this is not quite like Jupiter was in its own sign of Pisces, where it was more of a hermit, more of a mystic going inward. But here in Aries, Jupiter is very active, very adventurous, very ambitious. So this is a very fiery energy. This is definitely a time of being more outgoing, of being more focused on achieving your goals and pushing forward in life. This is encouraging you to live your life to the fullest and to incorporate a sense of excitement and activity in through this Jupiter in Aries. You do want to be careful though, because as Jupiter comes into the sign of Aries, it will come into a conjunction with Rahu. So Rahu tends to blow things out of proportion. And Jupiter, of course, is already a planet of expansion. So you want to be very careful about over expanding in the area where Jupiter is placed within your natal chart. At the same time, Jupiter can help to pacify some of the negative effects of Rahu. So for those of you who have been struggling with this Rahu transit, Jupiter coming in here will bless you in this area where Rahu is positioned. So let's go ahead and talk about how this month of April will affect each of you according to your moon sign or ascendant sign. And just a quick disclaimer, I am using Vedic Sidereal astrology. So I am not using Western tropical astrology. You want to make sure that you have the correct information so that you get the right interpretation. If you are not sure what your sidereal signs are, there is a calculator down below in the description where you can find out that information. For those of you with a Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant, we will start off here with a full moon entering into your 5th house. So this is a very auspicious full moon here. Moon, of course, is one of your secondary rulers as it is Mulatrikone in your 1st house, coming into this very auspicious 5th house. So any sort of creative projects, anything that you've been working towards, seeing this coming to a fruition or seeing the final results of this in this 5th house. This can definitely be a happy time around children and connections with loved ones. This can make you very romantic at this time and very much into your creative expression. Very empathetic, very caring, very much about connection and togetherness. And of course, the moon is the ruler of your 3rd house. So this is definitely going to create closer bonds with siblings, neighbors, cousins, everyone in your immediate surroundings. Following this, we will have Venus entering into your 1st house. Another very auspicious transit for you, as Venus is your ruler coming into this 1st house. So this can definitely get you into your looks, your appearance, and the way that you are coming across to others. This can make you very luxurious, very much into enjoying yourself and really into the beauty and creative aspects of life. Venus here gives you a sweetness, a softness in this 1st house that makes you very likable and popular at this time. So this is a very auspicious transit of Venus. Now, of course, as Venus first enters into your 1st house, it will be hemmed by the Sun and Mars. So you may not feel the results of this right away. This is a slow progression as Venus comes into this 1st house for you. Following this, the Sun will enter into your 12th house, so pulling you a little bit back into your private life. at this time. Sun, of course, is your fourth house lord. So this is an excellent time for finding a sense of peace and happiness and stability. That fourth house being all about your heart space, all about your home life and your inner peace. This is an excellent time for finding some space of going inward and having that happiness and peace to yourself. This can also strengthen your connection with your mother, with your relatives at this time. But definitely this is making you a little bit more introverted, introspective, going inward, taking that time to review and reflect. Sun back in the 12th house can be very creative as well. So again, a lot of creative energy, creative expression, really getting into this during this month of April. Following this, we will have a solar eclipse coming up here in Ashwini. So this is definitely a time where you want to be very careful about expenses. Managing any sort of finances at this time is very important, along with paying close attention to your health as well. You don't want to take any sort of risk during this eclipse especially. We will also see Mercury station retrograde back in your 12th house. And this is somewhat of a positive transit for you, as this is back in the 12th house, really increasing your ability to go inward and to reflect. This can really get you into your imagination and creative expression and really give you a strong sense of intuition. Mercury, of course, is ruling over your second house though, so once again, be very cautious about how you are dealing with your finances at this time, as there can be some expenses. Lastly here, we will have Jupiter entering into your 12th house as well. So a lot of you have been really back into this 12th house with this Rahu transit taking you inward. And for some of you, even getting into foreign travel, into spirituality, into really deep introspection and moving far away or traveling within your mind once again through spirituality. So Jupiter coming in here is definitely going to increase this for you. Jupiter is a very spiritual planet coming back into this 12th house. Definitely feeling happy at this time. So this is an excellent time for meditation, for deep reflection, for keeping a dream journal, for really working towards your spirituality and studies. And this can get you really into your studies as you may be once again going inward and really getting into your studies, your education, focusing in on all of these areas.